Hey, Robert Bell, Brooks Equipment. I'm here with another webinar. This time it's on an NFPA checklist. With businesses starting to open back up, NFPA created this checklist for building owners and facility managers to ensure fire and life safety for all building occupants. Our own Brandon Stevens will walk you through this webinar. Take it away, Brandon.
Thanks, Robert. Hi again, everyone. I have some information to share with you today about NFPA guidelines for businesses reopening. Most states are now beginning to allow businesses that were shuttered and relatively vacant to begin to open back up. With this in mind, the National Fire Protection Association recently developed a checklist intended to help building owners and facility managers ensure fire and life safety for all building occupants. This new NFPA checklist will help building owners and facility managers prepare, ensuring that fire protection and life safety equipment in commercial buildings are properly checked and functioning. Now, during the lockdown policies in place over the past couple of months, many of the ongoing inspection, testing, and maintenance, ITM activities, in shutdown buildings were not performed. Although the ITM is typically required by locally enforced codes and standard, the ITM may not have been completed for a variety of reasons. Therefore, for buildings that were shut down and vacated with no verification that the fire and life safety equipment is operational, it is imperative that building owners, facility managers, and the authority having jurisdiction verify the performance, operation, and readiness of all building fire protection and life safety equipment prior to reoccupation. The NFPA says their checklist addresses the factors that should be verified by a qualified person prior to reopening the building. The reason for the checklist is to help ensure the safety of all persons that enter the building, as well as the fire protection of the structure and its contents. But NFPA did not elaborate on who's a qualified person that's appropriate for performing these complex tasks in compliance with code requirements. Since most building owners and facility managers don't have qualified staff that can perform many of the checklist tasks, they will likely contact qualified technicians to perform this work. Therefore, it's imperative that you share the NFPA checklist with building owners, facility managers, local AHJs, emphasizing that you have qualified technicians that know the codes, know the standards, and can perform all the necessary work for compliance with the NFPA checklist. Now, here's a sampling of some of the NFPA recommendations that you should check for when reopening buildings for occupancy. The NFPA says that fire protection equipment in restaurants and cafeterias and commercial buildings need to be checked according to NFPA 96. Extinguishers need to be operational according to NFPA 10. Emergency lighting and exit signs must be functional, and the exit doors and fire alarms must be operational. Additionally, the building's fire sprinkler systems, fire pumps must be up and running. Also check the fire department connections or FDCs on the outside of the buildings to ensure they have caps, they're not plugged with debris. Hose connections, standpipes must also be checked to requirements in NFPA 25. Now, while a building owner or facility manager might be able to do some of these preliminary quick checks that will help them identify obvious flaws, they will often need help in making sure each building is safe enough to reopen. A thorough inspection and testing of equipment should be conducted by a qualified technician, and a review of recent maintenance records is necessary prior to or at the onset of reopening a building. Only a qualified technician with knowledge of the equipment, the codes, and standards is appropriate for performing the irregularly scheduled ITM of the building's fire protection and life safety systems and equipment. NFPA says this process should be completed as quickly as possible. Now, FEMA's Help, the Fire Equipment Manufacturers Association, has shared the NFPA checklist with the National Association of State Fire Marshals, known as NASFM, and the International Association of Fire Chiefs to help them promote continued ITM throughout the COVID-19 crisis. Now, the NASFM has posted an endorsement of the NFPA checklist on their Facebook page. The NASFM Facebook page is intended for fire marshals in all 50 states, so this should greatly help. This newly available checklist reflects the latest in a series of COVID-19 related resource developed by the NFPA to address fire and life safety issues, concerns, and challenges that have emerged over the past couple months. Additional resources are developed as they are needed and added to the NFPA website. You are encouraged to visit their website for additional advice for maintaining the operability of fire protection and life safety systems and equipment. These resources developed by NFPA during the COVID-19 crisis are intended to help minimize risk and prevent loss, injuries, and death from fire, electrical, and other hazards. Thank you for your time this morning. Hope this information helped. And back to you, Robert.
Thank you, Brandon. With the rush of businesses getting back open, it's important not to forget the codes and requirements that keep us all safe. We hope you use this checklist with your building owners, facility managers, and customers to ensure fire and life safety for all. Thank you. And don't forget, we will win. Take care.